Hello guys and welcome to the ProDota Cup AM Smashcast TV. We are back after our one-day hiatus with a best of 3 between Starf's Esports and Snakewingz as they duke it off in the playoffs to see who can make it to the next round and of course who will go out of this tournament. We have Brazilians versus these Canadian American people, and this is all possible of course in the ProDota Cup American version because of XBet. XBet is our official sponsor and they allow this tournament to actually happen. And of course, XBet offers live betting on all ProDota Cup matches, offering the best odds and the highest payouts. When with XBet, use bonus code BOUNTYX to deposit and get €100 free. And that said, guys, before we get into the draft, allow me to present myself. My name is DSwordfish, and I'll be here today as your caster together with Vätte. How are you doing, my friend?
Hello everyone, and let's enjoy some American Dota. It's a lowest bracket, so basically both these teams are fighting for their survival in the ProDota Cup and competing for the chance to keep on going to the first place. What's interesting from side of Stars Esports, their first pick was Vätte. It's not that kind of a common pick nowadays, and Snakewingz immediately reacted to this. They picked Earthshaker and Lifestealer, and Lifestealer is one of the few carriers who is doing completely fine against Vätte. Also from side of Stars, we see Shadow Shaman and Monkey King. It is an open question, is this Monkey King going to be a carrier position 4? But I guess it's going to be some kind of a roaming duo with Shadow Shaman and Monkey King, and it will be pretty hard for Snakewingz to deal with this. Plus, Snakewingz got Earthshaker in the offlane, and it doesn't really matter who will be carrier from side of a Stars Esports. It doesn't feel like Earthshaker will be able to do that well on the lane. There are pretty strong heroes against him all in all, but if they first picked Vätte and baited this pick of a Lifestealer or Juggernaut or any kind of a hero who does decent specifically against Vätte, maybe Stars really wanted to bait this pick and we will see some kind of an aggressive tri-lane. Yet from side of Snakewingz, here comes the Shadow Demon. We haven't seen this hero for quite a while, and that's a interesting decision. Mostly we used to see him in some kind of a meta with Luna, for example, because Shadow Demon is doing quite fine with his disruption. It's also a great setup. Maybe with the Soul Catcher he got a pretty decent ganking potential. Yet I'm surprised to see this support.
It is interesting what they decided to pull off here as Snakewingz. I agree with the Shadow Demon. Now that I see the combination, I suppose Shadow Demon and Invoker, don't know if it's that worth it to pick the hero. Huge nerfs recently because of the poison touch increase or decrease rather than damage, like by a lot. They also, nerfed Soul Catcher to the ground to the point where it's just a useless spell. Really, it adds, especially in an area, it's horrendous unless you play Shadow Demon really well. Maybe useful in the early game, but that's it. And of course, the weird thing is that you're also combining with a Lifestealer, so old, like you said, old you saw with pushing lineups with Luna, but any hero that in general can use the disruption because of their illusions being strong is pretty good, but Lifestealer is particularly one of those heroes that doesn't use that at all, as he rarely goes for stats, so his illusions aren't particularly too strong, and they also don't get the feast, which is the whole point of the hero. So, interesting pickup here by Snakewingz. Now, finishing it off with Necrophos, maybe the idea is to go Radiance Necrophos and just destroy with this. I also see the Shadow Demon Earthshaker for a combination of the illusions plus Fissure Block, which is actually quite effective in the early game. We'll see. By the way, they also think that that the Monkey King is going to be played carry and not position 4. We'll see if Stars Esports agrees with this idea.
Well, why not? With Magnus, Monkey King can work out pretty well in the early game and mid game, it feels like. Maybe the Shadow Demon serves the purpose of saving people from a Vätte, plus Purge is not that bad against Ursa. It will be pretty decent combination with Earthshaker, as we already spoke, and combo with Sunstrike. Yet, pick from side of a Stars Esports seem much more orthodox, and this combination of Magnus plus Earth and plus Monkey King, that's pretty good one. I will go with Stars for the first game, I think.
Yeah, I have to agree with Stars as well. I think the Ursa Magnus is a classic combination, taking a page off Virtus Pro. You have a bit of pushing power with the Shadow Shaman to allow you to get or take advantage rather of the Ursa, the Bat Rider, to give you easy team fights. And despite the Shadow Demon being okay against Bat Rider in terms of stopping his lasso, he's also really vulnerable to his Firefly in general, and also vulnerable, of course, to the Ursa, the Shadow Shaman. And I don't see that Necrophos also working too well. He's going to be an offlane Necrophos with a support Earthshaker here. They are relying a lot on getting just a really lucky lanes and getting lanes that work out for them, as Stars Esports are going to put the pressure very early on, and most of Snakewingz heroes won't be useful until Necrophos, for example, getting around level 9 or so, so he has max either Ghost Shroud Aura, and of course max that Death Pulse in one level at least in that ultimate. And of course, similarly, the Invoker, he needs his Aghanim's. The Earthshaker as support actually gets a really late Blink Dagger and is really, really not useful without a Blink Dagger against what Stars is running. And Lifestealer himself also needs to get an Armlet, which is somewhat of a costly build-up. On top of that, Ursa is a great counter to Lifestealer in general. So I don't know. I actually really, really inclined to believe in Stars this stref. I think they got completely outdrafted here if you're the guys from Snakewingz.
It was actually pretty interesting that Earthshaker can be quite decent against most of the offlaners, but the problem about his stun, which is pretty decent, and he blocks the path, but you're playing against Bat Rider, who doesn't really care about Fisher or anything which blocks his way as long as he does have his Firefly. Like, I understand that the cooldown on Fisher is smaller than on the Firefly, but as we already mentioned before, Bat Rider will have no issues with dealing with Shadow Demon, for example, in the beginning of the game. Yet he gone for the Windlace and plenty of regen, no boots on this Bat Rider. Question is how they're laning this. Is it going to be some kind of unorthodox tri-lane from side of Snakewingz? Because probably, I'm not sure. I mean, to be honest, like,
imagine in the off chance that they decide to run the tri-lane against what, Ursa, Shadow Shaman, Monkey King. Is your tri-lane really better than that? You have a really good combo against one hero, that being the, like we talked about, Earthshaker, Shadow Demon, and Lifestealer. That's pretty good, but not against 3. It's really easy to stop that combo by Shadow Shaman just walking a bit further and going Hex or Shackles, or the Monkey King using his Primal Spring. And if you don't get the fissures perfectly timed, then you don't really have that illusion block that you're looking for. And of course, you also need to have you also have an Ursa, which withstands a lot of punishment in the early game, especially because you can't go near him with Fury Swipes, and you are dealing with two melee carry and a melee support.
Well, we'll see. How's it going to be? Here comes the TP immediately from Ziggy on the bottom lane. He's ready with 2 Absorb the Woods. And what's interesting, Ursa is going bottom lane, so it's going to be an aggressive tri-lane from side of Stars, and they're putting Bat Rider alone against Necro, I guess.
Necro and Earthshaker seems like a dual lane just to start off, even if just to get a bit of advantage for the Necrophos. Not particularly the best laning experience for a Necrophos. Pretty low movement speed to begin with. 285, one of the lowest in the games. Not Crystal Maiden levels, but still pretty low. Earthshaker, also a melee hero. We've already talked about how bad Earthshaker is against Bat Rider. And you're dealing against a Bat Rider that, once he gets level 2, is able to Firefly and Sticky Napalm you to death. And there's no way you can dispel that anyway. And Ghost Shroud won't do anything but amplify the damage that you take from the Firefly. So it's going to be a hard lane regardless. And now in the bottom lane, we also see Shadow Demon with Lifestealer versus a really, really strong tri-lane, as it includes Shadow Shaman and Monkey King. I don't know what to say. It seems like the lanes are just completely for Stars. Even the Magnus should be able to beat the Invoker in the middle lane just with a early level of Empower and then go in level 2 Shockwave.
Yeah, he already got his Stout Shield, so he won't suffer that much from right clicks. It's interesting that Snakewingz decided to start with Earthshaker. With Necrophos on the top lane. Probably they wanted to secure a lane for Jonathan, but it doesn't feel like Bat Rider will be afraid of Shaker that much. It's a melee hero in the end.
And also, you mentioned the whole idea of Fissure not being that effective against Bat Rider in general. And if you do want to go for the Enchant Totem, really big cast point, usually a Bat Rider, especially since he already started with Windlace, and will definitely be going for the boots soon enough, is going to be able to just outrun your Enchant Totem stuns and whatnot. Only good thing about Earthshaker against Bat Rider is the fact that he has area damage, so the whole turn rate the turn rate reduction is not really that big a deal. Anyway, bottom lane, we go on to Shadow Demon, already getting hit by the Jingle Mastery. In comes the Ursa. Good disruption, but the Monkey King might just finish off the Shadow Demon. They forced the rotation already, and Ned will still get that kill. As pushing me away, continues to harass this Lifestealer. Went for level 1 Earthshock to get that slow. In the end, early good kill. First blood for the Monkey King. Good gold as he gets the boots early on.
That's actually pretty sweet, this ridiculous range of attack for Monkey King, which was pissing off a lot of people when this hero just appeared, because sometimes things which are happening are completely obnoxious. And they're swapping lanes. Snakewingz realized that they can't really go against the tri lane for Cyber Stars, and Monkey King comes to the top lane. Batrider plus Monkey, not in favor for Lifestealer all in all, even with a Shadow Demon, who probably may annoy Monkey King a little bit. This higher range on Monkey, especially when you're playing against Lifesteal and he doesn't have his open wounds, is not the best deal for 49.
And even though Lifestealer can, in theory, deal with the Batrider, because he does have the Rage, it's quite a high in mana-intensive spell, even with a Magic Stick, so you can punish it by trying to force it out. The Monkey King, like you said, has a Jingle Mastery. There's still ways to really force this Lifestealer out, even though he did go for an early Magic Stick, which is clever. You should still be able to at least force him out of the lane by just putting a lot of fear in his heart. And you can still go for the Firefly build if you're really afraid of Lifestealer winning the lane, which is just 1-1-3. And Lifestealer will have a really tough time against that anyway, as Firefly lasts quite a while. And there they go, Rage, open wounds, but they know they can't do anything against the Batrider. And again, the Firefly is just the too scariest spell.
Well, the problem is there comes the 4 stacks of a Shadow Poison on Batrider, and maybe 5 stacks. Oh, that's actually quite a lot. It feels like Batrider completely forgot, but you'd better not stack these things on you. And that's the problem when you're playing against a hero which haven't been played for quite well. See, oh my god, this is level 1.
No, it's not that big a deal. He just healed it up completely with Magic Stick and with the Tangle.
No, actually he wasted his health, basically lost a lot of his health. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, here comes the Lilkin. Probably they will be able to kill Invoker. There's no chances for him. Here comes the Shackles, and well, there's no Shockwave, but I think Red Face will be enough. Lilkin finishes off him with the Ether Shock, and here comes the 2 kills for Stars.
Oh, that's an early game advantage already for Stars, and like we were mentioning, the Shadow Demon, not that much. Oh, trying again against Yavs. That's a good start. The open wounds. So Yavs taking a lot of damage, trying to go into the high ground. The Shadow Poison hits him again with disruption. He's dead as meat. Yavs won't be able to survive this attack. Good disruption at the end by Mr. Shisho. However, like we were mentioning, that it's not that much damage anymore. I don't know if he's gonna max it for the extra damage Shadow Poison. I don't, because maxing disruption doesn't seem like the best option this game. Just basically because your carry doesn't benefit from disruption that much. We'll see. As bottom lane, I 3-shock to kill the Earthshaker. Did absolutely nothing against an Ursa, and Ursa's even maxing Earthshock for the complete lane domination, and of course to deal damage inside that Ghost Trap.
Yeah. Also, what's the thing about Shadow Demon, and that the increased mana cost on the Shadow Poison since a very long time, so you can't spam it out that efficiently. Plus, maybe he will max it out. Why not? There is not that much of a compass with the Soul Catcher, even though Soul Catcher is a decent spell. All in all, meanwhile, on the mid lane, look at this Snare. Actually believes that he'll be able to survive this? No? Oh, here comes the kill on the Invoker. Meanwhile, on the rune, Dark Raider takes life over poor Shadow Shaman.
And the Earthshaker took advantage of the fact that if you see a Shadow Shaman trying to gank, loses on low health, got pretty cocky, and destroyed him as a result. That's not bad, but again, it's just a solo kill from a support to a support. Your carries don't benefit from it whatsoever. They've already been harassed quite a lot. At best, you do force the Ursa out of lane ever so slightly to go for the camps in the jungle, as you don't really want to fight against Necrophos alone, and that's alright for the guys at Snakewingz to recover from not the best early game. But we'll see if this translates into a bit more advantage, or if just continues for Stars as Snare. And they go against Soothes. Soothes does a skewer, should be able to survive this with the Sunstrike not hitting. He does the Magic Stick anyway. Soothes uses the Magic Stick, not yet. Finally, oh, he's trying to trap him, and there with the Monkey King, and of course that Shockwave. That's a dead Invoker. Turn this around as they go into the Earthshaker. No mana for this man, and the Monkey King doesn't even need the Jingle Mastery. Shadow Shaman finishing him off with auto attacks. Soothes keeps the health up as he gets the Shrine. A Batrider could have benefited from that, but whatever. Yavs doesn't. I don't know why they don't care about him.
Well, I guess they really want to get early levels and farm on Magnus, so
I mean, he's working well, so it makes sense. Zeus has just gotten 2 kills, 1 solo kill to begin with, and already, you know, turning around all these engagements, all these ganks. It's fantastic for them. Earthshaker's doing nothing this early game except for that kill on the Shadow Shaman.
It's actually 500 gold ahead, and that's pretty neat. Question is which kind of a Magnus we will see with the Echo Saber, or more of a utility Magnus. Will be played with the Force Staff and Blink Dagger from Zeus. I believe that when you're playing with Ursa Monkey King, you rely more on the setting up RP, plus keeping in power on everyone, so I believe it's going to be some kind of a Force Staff Blink Dagger for even more mobility, because sometimes Ursa got issues with this. And what's interesting, Ned actually zoning out for lifesteal completely solo.
Jonathan turned into a chicken, uses the Ghost Shroud, the magic stick to heal himself completely. There's the Fissure, trying to save his life. Now they're going to push me away, and he is pushed away. In the end, he's able to at least make out of here alive. You already used 2 support rotations. Can you get a kill out of this? That would be ideal. But pushing me away will be able to TP in time. Now the disruption, those creeps really annoying. The Sunstrike as well, pushing me away. Has to run himself away. Magic stick, no, he doesn't get it in time. The Shadow Poison will finish him off. It's level 2, maxing it for that damage.
Well, finally there was a combination with the Sunstrike, because previously they didn't use it that much, 7 minutes into the game. Yet Invoker is not having his best time in the mid lane, so I guess he doesn't have the courtesy of keep on spamming Sunstrikes, but from the other point of view, it's pretty beneficial for him if you're not getting creeps or money from your own lane. Why not set up a kill with a Sunstrike and get a little bit gold for yourself?
Right.
But I don't know.
That's a really good point. But of course, that was because of the 2 support rotations. It was still like Ursa forcing it out, and in the bottom lane, they'll start the aggression again. Primal Spring used on this lifestealer, uses Rage in time. Open Wound stop the Monkey King, so he can't get the Jingle Mastery off. But there's still that stun, and it will hit the lifestealer in the head, crushing it completely. So Stars will be getting another kill onto 49, and their aggression continues.
Oh, that's the first death for lifestealer, yet he's doing not that well. And what's actually pretty interesting, that both carriers are somewhere closer to the bottom of the net worth chart. Haven't seen this for quite a while, I must admit, and offlaners are much more farmed. Yeah, here comes the Dark Rider, tries to kill Zeus. Zeus keep on man fighting, Sunstrike being dodged. There's enough mana for RP, but I'm not sure if he will be able to fight against Shadow Demon and Earthshaker at the same time. He's running away. Meanwhile, there was a kill on poor Invoker in the mid lane, and here comes the rotation from Stars. They're going to punish this greedy supports. There's an RP on solo Earthshaker, and Zeus is getting a solo kill. Zizo tries to run away. Here comes the Shackles, and bam, 3 kills for Stars. Great rotation, and God bless Magnus survived this.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really good usage of the RP, stopping the Earthshaker, again, punishing another rotation. That's what you're trying to try doing. You see how much counter initiations the guys from Snakewingz are trying to do, and they can only get kills that way, and you're punishing every time they do that to make sure that, they stop doing it, essentially, so you can get more secure lanes. You can be as aggressive as you want to. Now, pushing me away in the bottom lane, he's being harassed by the lifestealer. There's the open wounds, but he wants to still fight this. He has the enrage ready, and the disruption comes on him. Still has the magic stick available. They stun him right off. Sunstrike will hit him, enrage used. He won't take any damage on that Sunstrike as he runs away into the trees. Has to use the magic stick to cure back up, and might be able to survive this. They're giving a lot of vision, but there's the Monkey King, uses the ultimate to zone the enemy team out, and Ned will save his Scary's life here, even trying to get a Jingle Mastery, maybe even a kill. Destroys the lifestealer with the Aethershock surprise attack from Lokin. Tries to kill off the Earthshaker, but gets a really lucky Fissure as the Shackles wasn't able to trigger in time, one of those slight cast point bugs, and as a result, Snakewingz will be losing only their lifestealer in this bottom lane.
That's pretty annoying when you're playing against the Shadow Demon, that you can't really safely TP out, because he can scout out things with the Shadow Poison quite efficiently, and that's why Ursa was so unsure if he'll be able to survive this. But a great rotation from Ned, and this Monkey King becomes a real threat, yet we haven't seen him empower him yet. And imagine what will happen. He goes for some kind of a semi-carry build, and the first item we will see on him is going to be Echo Saber. Interesting choice on the Monkey King. And Zizo is alone on the bottom lane against 4. Here comes the Monkey King. He jumps in. Zizo loses his life. There is no chance, sadly, for him to survive this, but at least it's a granted fast TP to the base. And Lifestealer completely rotated to the top lane. He's dealing with Batrider alone. Batrider doesn't have mana for a lasso, so probably Lifestealer is not that scared. They also know where the whole Stars team is. That's what's interesting, that Magnus rotated to the bottom lane. I guess he had his reverse polarity in time, but mostly when it's on a cooldown, he will spend most of his time farming. It is going to be a pretty decent timing on Blink Dagger, Arcanes and Blink plus graded stick. 11 minutes in.
Yeah, not bad at all. Yeah, I like that he went for Arcanes first, knowing that his lane was going so well. No need to rush that Blink Dagger, and now you have much more sustain as you go around the map ganking kills. Let's see, though, in the top lane, Bad Rider hit by the Sunstrike, and, of course, a Yule Scepter. Grab his Necrophos is the first item. Jonathan actually kills him off with that ultimate. They're unable to get any counter kills, but Ned does see Shisho. Shisho isn't gonna... That's an obvious word. They should have seen that. He just jumped, though. Shisho knows that he's there, and of course that ward either over here, over there. Just put a sentry up in the high ground, and you will see the sentry or that ward immediately. So it's not really that big a deal. There's the sentry going to be used. Looking? No? Okay. Just waiting for the smoke. Alright. Playing it safe, knowing there's a ward around there, so he's going to play around that vision, as the smoke, of course, doesn't reveal them, so he won't be expecting this whatsoever as he plays a bit more unsafely. There's the RP, catches the Lifestealer with the Ursa Enrage, he's been hexed, and now destroyed. No, the Infest gives him only a bit more life, actually might survive thanks to that fissure. Can they catch him in time? The Skewer is available, so is the Blink Dagger now for Soothes. He's going to commit to this, the Monkey came from behind, the Echo Slam, and Soothes actually skewers away the Necrophos. They try to use the Shackles on him, the ultimate is also committed. The lasso from the Bat Rider destroys this Necrophos, and the Earthshaker walks into a sea of flames and is burned alive as the Ursa tries to find that last kill against Shisho. He's going to try to TP away. They have no way to stun him out, but also not enough damage. So Shisho managed to TP in time. However, Stars already killed 3 people, out of which there was a carry and an offlaner in that pack.
That's actually an amazing rotation from Servo Stars. -3 at least? -3. Oh, that's going to be a tough time for Snakewingz to recover in this, yet Invoker still didn't finish his Hand of Midas. He also got, for example, Null Talisman, and he completely switched to jungle. He dodges in mid lane because he doesn't have his tower anymore, so this area is really not safe, plus he's forced to share jungle with Lifestealer, and that's not the best thing. To be honest, for Invoker, because you need a lot of space, and I'm not sure if Snakewingz will be able to create the space to secure Aghanim Scepter on Invoker, because Stars are being really aggressive now with the mask. Actually, Ursa goes for the Hand of Midas.
Interesting. Hand of Midas on Ursa. I haven't seen that in a while. It's a pretty greedy build. I mean, if you have Magnus Empowering to allow you to farm pretty quickly, that's not that bad of an idea, honestly. You get the experience boost anyway. The experience first is quite useful, as you can max Furious Whites and Overpower, sorry. Even Earthshock is a pretty useful skill for him. Getting level 2 Enrage early is pretty important. And, of course, you're going to be able to get that extra gold per minute, which is not bad, as, you know, you want to empower the Monkey King, try to get some farm on him as well, as he's going for, like you said, a semi-carry build. That might work out. Also, the attack speed on Ursa, not the best of things, but if you don't use the Empower, or you haven't maxed the Overpower, sorry, too early, then you can actually use that pretty efficiently. In the top lane, by the way, they find a Bad Rider, the Necrophos, lasso, and destroyed. And now in the bottom lane, we see the Magnus trying to maybe get a kill here on the Invoker. He does have the RP, and with a Blink Dagger, should be an easy kill. There's Snare. RP committed first. Loki wants to come in. Shackle should be available. Hex first. They skewer him away, and of course, the Earthshaker's trying to get that enchant totem range. He ends up Shackles instead. The Sunstrike hits. Shadow Shaman calls up to stop the Shackle, and Loki 6 will lose his life against the Invoker, while the Magnus decides this was not the best engagement and will blink himself away. Too much greed. Too much greed. And with that, the guys at Stars will be losing their Shadow Shaman down bottom. They can't put as much aggression anymore. And we will see if at least they can... if Snakewingz can take some objective out of this. After all, you are up pretty high in net worth. The Necrophos and your lifesteal not too much, but the Invoker's doing kind of fine, especially due to the fact that he has the Midas, right, really recovering him. And the Aghanims will come late, for sure, as an Invoker, but it is quite a low net worth game. You're not as needed early on, and with Cold Snap, Sunstrike, and Forge Spirit, or Cold Snap, Sunstrike, and Meteor, or, you know, one of those variations in the early game Invoker, he should be perfectly fine in terms of the team fight, especially if Ursa does not have the Enrage ready. Now, we'll see. Pushing me away, it pushes the creep wave away. That Empower, very useful to ensure that he can farm these creeps a bit quicker, especially with the Overpower and early phase boots. And we'll see if Magnus starts really maxing that, because he got 2 levels of Skewer early on, thinking that he can be played really aggressively. Now thinking otherwise, as he wants to max the Empower finally. Going for that level 1 talent as well with 25 attack speed. Particularly good talent, by the way, on Magnus to become a semi-carry. Now, in the top lane, they find the Necrophos. He's been stunned out. The lasso stops him, and with a second stun from the Monkey King, they ensure the kill on this poor man. 49 wants to walk in, but of course with those monkeys, really hard. And that Monkey King already has his Echo Saber, so it's not the easiest of targets to go up against. It's really easy to trigger Jingle Mastery right now and deals a hell of a lot of damage, especially with the Empower helping you out. The Stars will proceed to rotate. Magnus getting his Force Staff, and just like Mrs. Vätte pointed out, we're going to see Magnus with a lot of movement speed or mobility items going on to him. A Smoke that has both Shackles, or the Shadow Shaman, sorry, I just called him Shackles, that's all he's doing this game, and the Magnus as well. Monkey King can just going through the trees. They're not really expecting this, the lanes are pushed as well, so it's obvious that, or it's not really easy to see that there's a Smoke gang coming, especially because the enemy team is playing so aggressively. Soothes has the RP ready, and he might just guess that they're here because it's a pretty obvious spot to go in, especially with the RP. Does not guess correctly, but we'll guess next time. There's the there's the Skewer plus Force Staff. Did not find anyone. However, the Monkey King does stun out the Earthshaker and deals a lot of damage to him. Ned wants to go back in. There's the Meteor. Will only stop the creep wave as it hits nobody else. That's your most valuable spell in the early game without the Aghanims already wasted. So pushing me away continues down against this tower. And the tower will go down to Loken 6 damage. And with this, we see a Monkey King also hang out in the sidelines in the shape of a tree. Nobody will guess. It's a tree on a tree. I mean, super camouflage, you know. And Ned will try to scout out, see if they can actually go for more objectives. See an easy kill, for example, on Jonathan. Not the easiest for now. And for now, we'll see if Stars can just continue this aggression. We see Magnus with double damage and going for Shadow Blade next. Full mobility build, and actually the Shadow Blade is one of the better items on today's Magnus with the extra attack speed that the talent gives you, and of course the extra damage from Shadow Blade. You start dealing considerable amount of damage in team fights. We see Monkey King already chasing down Jonathan. They know where he is, but just putting pressure at this point. So Jonathan can't really leave his base safely. Of course, the Yule Scepter, he can farm this aggressively, but not too far. He's quite a slow hero regardless, especially with that Echo Saber to boot. And the Earthshaker in a difficult position, looking for maybe a Fissure of sorts. Interesting build that he maxed Fissure, something that we haven't seen in a long time. We see the obvious thing we're saying in the drafting phase, that it's probably one of those Earthshakers that means to be combined with Disruption to get those blocks off, and that's why you max Fissure. Because of, well, extra damage, I suppose, to some degree. That's pretty much it. The extra stun, that could be kind of useful. It's actually weird. I mean, it is support Earthshaker, but even support Earthshaker nowadays kind of maxes Aftershock. But of course, with that mobility items, you're more of a walking Fissure. And since you're just a walking Fissure, that's maybe why he decided to go for this unorthodox build. The only person I've seen with a successful build is probably GH. As GH is one of those masters of Fissures. We have not seen the same success from this poor man's Fissures, Mr. Dark Raider. And now the Roshan will fall easily, and that's another advantage that the guys from Stars have. They not only have great ward taken, oh, the Fissure just got wasted. They have a great control of vision, of course, with the Monkey King, as he allows you to go up to the high ground, use sentries in difficult positions. And you also are able to take objectives really quickly with the Ursa being able to take the Roshan. And of course, the Shadow Shaman to help you also take those towers. That means Roshan falls, Aegis goes to the Ursa, who's already building the Diffusal Blade to cancel this Necrophos. And the only real threat right now for the guys at Stars will be the Invoker, who's finally finishing off the Ags. However, the Invoker is going to start being quite an important hero right now, as they will be hitting that peak with the Aghanims. 400 gold to this Invoker only left, and with that you have a great counter initiation tool. You start getting the Tornado to be a bit further away, and of course the EMP also very powerful in trying to go up to the high ground. Able to stop the Batrider Lasso, able to stop the Magnus RP if used properly. You even have a Cold Snap which with lower cooldown, which actually might be useful. There's the Fissure, stops the Batrider, a bit too aggressive there. The ultimate from the Necrophos will take away the Batrider's life. And that Stars loses their Star Initiator, pun intended, as they go in a bit too far away. The Monkey King also wasn't there, so they were playing a bit with fire there. And the Shadow Blade will be coming out Ned, as the same Shadow Blade is coming out on Magnus. The whole point of this is probably to get a bit more secure initiation, but of course you are going to be giving the Shadow Demon a really hard time as well, forcing him to get all of those dusts and sentries. The Earthshaker similar, well, Earthshaker probably won't do so until he gets the Blink Dagger. and you get the extra damage, which onto Monkey King is not a bad idea. We will see Lilkin6 now continue to farm in this bottom lane, trying to go for an early drums, a very preferred build on Brazilian Shadow Shamans these days, as it gives you the necessary stats and of course a bit of pushing power with your creeps as well, together with some nice usage of some nice movement speed for your hero itself, as you have low range and usually can't afford the Blink Dagger too early. So let's see how this works out for the hero. Snakewingz himself trying to get some of that farm up on the Lifestealer, but without the Magnus, it's hard to compete against an empowered Ursa, or alternatively against a Monkey King that is also going to be empowered and is farming pretty much faster than your Lifestealer is. Now, on the top lane, pushing me away, goes up, finds 49, wants to go on him immediately, but that was a bit of a risky play. They do find a Shadow Demon with a stun, can still kill Jack Bauer. Where's the Echo Saber Ned with the insane, ooh, that attack range is great, but it's not good enough to stop Jack Bauer. Under the Blink Dagger available, but pushing me away, gonna commit to Jack Bauer. The Tornado misses completely, and that's a dead Shadow Demon. As Ursa uses the Enrage, the MP will hit him, but doesn't really care too much, doesn't have too much health. That ultimate, though, will destroy his Aegis, and now they caught the Invoker with the lasso. Let's see if they can find Snare. A double RP. That's perfect. Pushing me away. Comes in. Goes onto the Lifestealer, but won't find him in time. The Yosper stopping him. Now Dark Raider does die to the damage of the Monkey King. And a beautiful double stun. Stops both of them. 49 and Necrophos have to run away. Here's the Ursa with the Earthshock. The help of the Shockwave. Necrophos goes down. And only surviving members here. 49 and the Invoker. 49 will try to TP in time. Can the Ursa finish him? No. One more Fury Swipe would have done the trick, but the Lifestealer will TP in time. With this, the guys at Stars will be able to push the top tower away.
Well, not the most fortunate fight for Snakewingz, I must admit. Plus, with the Yule Scepter on Necrophos, there are more chances to kite Ursa, but that's simply not enough. Even though the popped Aegis, it feels like it worked out only in favor for Ursa. Because he was pretty low on mana, and even though Ursa is a very right-clickish hero, he still heavily relies on his overpower. He needs to constantly spam it, or he's not that effective in the fight. And with the full mana and full HP, he was ready to dive even deeper, and I'm not sure how Snakewingz is going to defend the high ground. Even though they got an Echo Slam, there's nowhere close to the Blink Dagger and Earthshaker. Most likely they will be able to kill creep waves quite efficiently with Invoker and Shadow Demon, but when you're playing against Magnus plus 4 stuff plus Blink Dagger, you may lose one of your teammates even on the high ground, because it's quite easy to skewer someone out if your positioning is not that great. Well, we'll see how Stars will manage to go on the high ground. They already committed their 7 snakes on the tier 2. And meanwhile, Invoker, Snare on the mid lane. Here comes the Batrider. He got no lasso. He's trying to scare away Invoker. Do they have any kind of a detection, or they will be able to burst him down completely free? Invoker tries to run away. Here comes the EMP blast, but it's not enough to finish off for Monkey King. And Invoker is dead for 50. Probably could have been a great opportunity for Stars to go on the high ground, or at least to force some kind of a buyback from Invoker. But without it, without snakes, without mana, without HP on Monkey King, when they're heavily relying on full 5-man team, it's pretty hard to go high ground. Yet there is a double damage rune on the bottom lane, and Su's already level 16. And even though we discussed the value of Midas in the very beginning of the game, Ursa works out with a pretty fight. Even with Empower, his farming speed is quite decent, and even though in the beginning his farm wasn't not that good, but with Empower plus Hand of Midas, he's getting his items and, what is more important, experience fairly early. He's on top of a net worth now, and he managed to outfarm Magnus. Diffuser Blade plus Blink Dagger, and even the Ghost Shroud won't save Necrophos from Ursa anymore. There are 5 men behind Invoker that really wants to defend him, but that's the problem for Snakewingz. They are not gaining any kind of money from this. They are quite poor, even though Invoker is top 3 in the net worth. The rest of the team is somewhere remaining on the bottom. Probably they want to get a kill, at least someone. They're smoking behind him, but it feels like Stars got another plans for this game.
I mean, that was a weird smoke. It's one of those smokes that we see, kind of a hopeful smoke, I like to call it. A Hail Mary. Let's hope that we catch someone. We have no vision. We don't know where anyone is, but let's just pray that there's someone out of position, which is not the best use of your smoke if you're losing by this much. You're going to try taking a tower in the end, which is an okay objective, but you're letting stars go and threaten your tier 3 in the mid lane or in the bottom lane, because they both are actually pretty pushed out. Not the best time to smoke, as you know, when you smoke when the lines are really pushed in your favor, is not the best idea. And we're going to see now a possible team fight with the RP being back up. So is the Enrage, the Snakes, the Lasso. Nothing is missing for the guys at Stars. Relatively low cooldowns. The only way to stop this right now is really the Invoker, as you mentioned, the most farmed hero in the game. And now Snares comes in. Tornado will hit the Monkey King. The MP probably going to stop. No, the Force Staff saves him, so there's no mana loss on this Monkey King. And he just lost the combo of the EMP Tornado, especially at Tornado. Really valuable ability in the early game, but Stars is not going to punish this whatsoever. They want to go for Roshan.
Yep. Well, actually, why not? Stars got all the time in the world. They got a Shadow Blade also on Magnus additionally, and even though people are saying, well, when you're playing with Ursa, you really want to finish by the minute 30, 40, because after that, Ursa falls behind quite hard. But if you will actually take a look at the pick from side of a Snakewingz, the only hero who can really deal well with Ursa is probably Invoker, because Ghost Shroud being countered by a Diffusal Blade, Lifesteal is suffering against Ursa all in all, and the whole Snakewingz team is not that decent against this particular hero, and the only hero who is a problem for Ursa, there is already going to be a very fast BKB, so he'll be able to jump in. Meanwhile, they found Lifestealer here.
Oh, good blink by the Batrider. Also the Force Staff. Magnus is still around with the Shadow Blade. Should be better surviving. Maybe not. Lasso still available. Can use Firefly and just fly himself away. And there's no counter initiation, knowing that everyone in Snakewingz is there. The guys from Stars just take advantage to open the map and try to get some farm on their heroes. Not a bad idea, actually. You got much more out of this engagement. Another smoke wasted. Another 5-man engagement that just doesn't exist for the guys of Snakewingz. And Snare now trying to find Pushing Me away, but he's going into the Wolf's Mouth. Here's the Shadow Shaman. Can he find him with a Hex? But no, the Great Ice Wall stops Pushing Me away from attacking, and so is Loken 6. Where's 49 coming from behind? The Cold Snap starts hitting the Ursa, and now Loken 6 has to run away. He's been open wounded, but he's losing blood everywhere, both because of the damage and because of the open wounds. He's gonna go down. Pushing Me away gets hit by the Sunstrike as well, and he will not survive as the Deafening Blast just chips him right in the shoulder. Loken 6 now being hit by a whole meatball, and of course that will just cause his death. Suze wanted to help his team out, but couldn't in time. Goes in anyway. RP finds 2. Why would you fight 2 versus 1? With the skewer, he's pretty confident. And they go with the Echo Slam, of course, 0 cast points. So this Magnus will just commit suicide against these 2 heroes. While Ned also kills Necrophos in the bottom lane at the cost of his own life. What is happening here? Okay, no, more people. There's the Batrider. He also wants to die. Actually, no, he wants to kill the Earthshaker. Gonna cook him to a crisp. That worked out nicely for Yavs. But here comes 49. At least wants to avenge his dead teammate, but Yavs a bit too fast to do so.
That's a fairly questionable rotation from side of a Stars, and when you got no one to deal that much of a damage. I mean, as a Magnus, I understand why you probably will RP someone alone, but when you're playing with some kind of an Echo Saber and, like, I don't know, Daedalus, Assault Kiros, anything like this, but not when you're playing the utility Magnus with the Blink Tag and Force Step, and they granted a lot of gold for Snakewingz in that fight, also as an Ursa and Shadow Shaman, and Shadow Shaman is without Blink Tag. It's still hard to deal with Invoker when he got his Icefall, plus he got a lot of ability, he got a Blink Dagger on himself. That was fairly questionable, yet it feels like Stars will be able to recover quite easily from this. They still got the whole map, but hey, granting additional gold for Invoker, who is quite fine in the 1 versus 5, some kind of a fights. That's not the best idea, and even though some time ago Invoker was below Magnus in terms of the net worth, he almost caught up to Ursa, finished his Aghanim's, got his boots, Blink, and next item going to be Lincoln Sphere to survive any kind of a jumps from side of a Shadow Shaman, probably Batrider and his Lasso.
I mean, yeah, I like that Lincoln's pick up very much an Invoker, give him also the extra stats to survive most of the Ursa damage to some degree, because 15 stats is not a laughing matter whatsoever. Ursa not going to be falling behind just yet, wanted to get that BKB as well to fight the Invoker, and that BKB will work wonders. But in the bottom lane, we see Monkey King and Batrider against the Invoker, trying to get that invaluable kill. Oh, there's a Batrider following him through, another great Ice Wall, actually saving his life. Monkey King jumps onto him, gets a Jingle Master with the Echo Saber, and that's a dead Invoker. All this talk about him being great, turns out he's not so amazing. Demonic Purge Hirsch, takes out with Jingu Mastery, and now they have to save these two, but the Earthshaker comes in and stops Ned. There's the dust, actually just clips him, but he still has that damage from the Boundless Strike, uses the ultimate, jumps onto a tree, and now those clones are start destroying the Earthshaker and Jonathan. He has to run away from all this magical damage. Will actually evade this using a Mischief? How did he do that? Okay, well, Dark Raider will go down regardless, but there's the ultimate from the Necrophos, finishing off this Monkey King in the mid lane. Meanwhile, the guys from Stars are not losing any time as the Earth starts pushing this middle lane. The objective is the melee racks, pushing me away using the last overpower. They try to get the skewer from Suits, but they actually cancel the TP in time. Those snakes will end up taking those racks, and in the end, pushing me away should be able to make it out of here alive. Wow. What a... I did not know Mischief had this 1 second or 0.1 second invulnerability. That was interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if it was really worth it. Never mind. Gem of Trueside is still laying on the ground in the bottom lane, and even though they lost melee...
Was that Monkey Kings? Yeah.
That's the Batrider. Yeah, Batrider dropped it. Well, I was questioning if it is like really worth it to lose your gem, especially when you're playing against Magnus with the Shadow Blade. Oh, well, when you're playing with Magnus, I'm sorry, with the Shadow Blade, and you're heavily relying on your vision because you're playing with Batrider and you're playing quite aggressively, so you want to trap Snakewingz in the base, and lose your gem for that is probably not the best idea, but I guess Snakewingz just didn't notice that this item was dropped. And finally, now Stars can take Shrines. Ursa is not that good, particularly at taking Shrines, but hey, why would we complain? And the next item is going to get Abyssal Blade. It feels like they feel that they lack a bit of a lockdown. 10-second BKB also up on him. And then Voka is quite efficient in the split pushing. He's not overcommitting though, because he knows that he will have no buyback, and probably that's the only ticket to the late game for Snakewingz. So he really needs to be careful.
Yep. The thing about it is that the Abyssal Blade can be really useful against the Lifestealer and the Invoker, especially now Lifestealer is getting a bit more farm. You will need a way to stop him, and he went for Heaven's Halberd already. You might want to stop that as well, especially because you don't have any MKBs. You need a bit more of that lockdown. I agree with the idea in general. Also, the stats or the HP it gives you is not bad, and an Ursa who's starting to suffer a bit more of the damage. And of course, for Suits himself, also grabbing that BKB, very valuable item when you're fighting against Lifestealer, or sorry, not Lifestealer, against the Invoker in general, as it will allow you to initiate a bit more securely. Let's see if they can take advantage of these two items, plus a possible next Aegis, or maybe Cheese or whatnot. Or sorry, this Aegis. That's what I meant. This Aegis to go for the tower in the top lane, which is probably their next objective.
Yeah, they finished off the both shrines, but probably they need to rely on some kind of a efficient initiation. Zeus using his Shadow Walk, but there's already sentries here, and that's kind of an expected move from Snakewingz. It's a very casual one, so it will be pretty hard for Magnus to go high ground that easily. Maybe they will need to rely on a Batrider with his Blink Dagger and Force stuff, but when you're playing against the Yule Scepter plus Disruption plus Fisher, maybe problematic. I'm not sure why Batrider didn't go for some kind of a BKB. I think it would be pretty neat if you want to secure pulling off someone from the high ground. Maybe pretty neat, but there are still some things to stop you even through BKB, like the Reaper's Sight, for example, or to save someone with a disruption. But do you really want to commit for that? Oh,
Lasso really far away, catch the Invoker in a bad position. They can't save him with disruption. BKB even committed by the Ursa, and the Yule Scepter, oh no, Yule Scepter himself actually. Ghost Scepter onto Jonathan, a lot of damage to the Diffusal Blade, and with this they are not able to kill him off just yet. The Monkey King uses his ultimate. Jonathan with a Glimmer Cape, there's the Echo Slam, finds a couple. The RP only went to one. Jonathan is still not dead. Reaper's Scythe will not kill the Batrider in time, and the Ursa's committing to the skill. Diffusal Blade into the Lifestealer, he's still alive, and the snakes are also used to stop taking his towers. Ursa's still alive with the Aegis not lost. The GG comes out from the Necrophos, and Snakewingz will be losing game number 1 against the Brazilians from Stars.
Well, Stars secured their advantage from the very beginning, and Ursa and Magnus is a pretty strong combination, plus additionally Monkey King. Not that much you can do against them. That we favored lanes quite heavily for the Stars in the very beginning. Question is, will Snakewingz be able to come back in the game number 2?
Sorry, we'll see what happens in game number 2. We'll be back very shortly with this second match of the lower bracket playoffs between Stars and Snakewingz. Of course, my name has been DSwordfish here with Vätte Dota. Feel free to follow us on Twitter if you did enjoy the cast, and of course, if you didn't, feel free to hate us on Twitter. And we will be back very shortly, like I said, with game number 2 of the ProDota Cup American region. Of course, sponsored by XBet. See you guys very shortly with that second encounter.